Welcome back to Project Joyful. Today's an extra special episode because it's our 200th episode. How cool is that? So, whether you've been here from the beginning or you've just tuned in, thank you for being with me. This podcast was born from my desire to learn how to lead with more ease, more alignment, and more truth. And 200 episodes later, well, I'm still fascinated by that purpose. I hope you are too. So today we're marking this milestone with something that strikes at the heart of high performance. Tell me if this sounds like you sometimes, because it's definitely been me from time to time. You close your laptop, you silence your notifications, you tell yourself you're off the clock, and yet an hour later, your shoulders are still tight. Your mind is pinging between tomorrow's meetings and last week's email that you can't remember if you replied to. Your partner asks how your day was, and you're halfway through rerunning a conversation with a colleague, trying to decode the tone. You're mentally packing lunchboxes while replaying that conversation with your direct report, wondering if maybe you were too direct or too distant or too demanding or just too. If you were clear enough about what you actually needed with that teammate. And your mind, well, it's also running its own private agenda. What needs to happen first thing tomorrow morning? What follow-up slipped through the cracks last week? What was that thing I was supposed to remember? You're technically off, but you're not actually off. So what gives? Well, today we're going to uncover why you can't fully switch off, even when you've ticked every box, logged out, added everything you can remember to your to-do list, and even knocked a few things off it. Let's get started, shall we? You're the one they turn to, the calm one, the capable one, the one with the answers. And yet, beneath it all, you know there's more available for you. More energy, more clarity, more unshakable presence. Welcome to Project Joyful, the podcast for health-centered leaders. I'm Tracy Tutty. Here, we speak to the part of you that knows leadership isn't about doing more. It's about becoming more fully who you are. So let's begin, shall we? This is so much deeper than boundaries. This is deeper than work-life balance. This is about your nervous system and your identity. So here's the thing. High-performing women like you don't stay switched on because they want to. They stay switched on because it feels safer than slowing down. Not better, not healthier, just safer. In the most primal, subconscious way. Why? Because your nervous system is wired for survival, not success. And when you've spent your entire career proving your worth by being indispensable, accessible, and always on, the idea of being unavailable, well, it feels dangerous, and it's simply not what we're taught to do as leaders. Even logging off triggers a subtle alarm in your body because deep down, you've linked presence with performance. When you're not producing, who are you? When you're not solving, soothing, fixing, leading, what's your value? And in case you're wondering if this is really for you, well, here's 3 ways that this can show up. You're officially off the clock. It's the end of the day, but you check your phone every 10 minutes anyway. Your brain says you're relaxing, but your body's still braced. The vigilance hasn't shut down. It's just gone underground. You're still scanning for what might go wrong, who might need you, who you might be disappointing. Or what about you're physically present with your family, but you're mentally elsewhere? You're answering a question about dinner while mentally rehearsing a difficult conversation you need to have with a member of your team tomorrow. And you wonder why that connection with your partner or your child feels flat. You finally take time for yourself, a walk, a bath, a book, but it feels oddly uncomfortable. Instead of peace, you feel itchy, restless, like you're doing something wrong. And soon, you're back at your desk, just checking one thing. Or maybe you lie in bed, you're exhausted, it's been a big day, but you just can't fall asleep. Your body's tired,
but your mind's still circling through loops. The unresolved conversation, the missed opportunity, the pitch that needs refining. And sleep, well, that becomes another performance you feel like you're failing at. Or maybe you plan your weekend around getting ahead. Time off becomes an illusion. You carve out Saturday morning to relax, but by noon you're organising next week's deck, replying to those team messages, and mentally scripting a tough Monday call. These aren't quirks of ambition, they're clues from your subconscious. And they're often reinforced by the world around you because somewhere along the way, like me, you were shown explicitly or perhaps not that this is what great leadership looks like. Being always on, always needed, always available. That open door policy became a badge of honour, a measure of your approachability, your dedication. And what if that open door has also become a floodgate, one that never lets you fully step away? Interruptions aren't small annoyances. They carry a hidden cost. Research led by Gloria Mark at UC Irvine found that on average, it takes about 23 minutes to regain full focus after a distraction at work. And that means every ping, every question or drop-in, well, it's not just a moment. It's effectively a 23-minute detour from your thoughts and your flow. And it usually starts with, have you got a minute? Or do you have 5 minutes? Spoiler alert, it's never 5 minutes. And here's the real breakthrough. Your inability to switch off isn't a productivity problem. It's a safety problem. Let that land. It's a safety problem. Somewhere along the way, your subconscious decided that visibility equals value, that usefulness equals worth, that hyper availability equals leadership. And that means logging off doesn't just feel inconvenient. It feels like you're disappearing. It feels like irrelevance. And maybe it started early. Maybe you learned that being helpful made you loved, that doing well made you seen, that staying busy kept you safe. It was rewarded. So you became exceptional. You earned the degrees. You climbed the ladder. You outperformed, you outplanned, you outpaced. But here's the paradox. The systems that built your success are now the same ones preventing you from enjoying it. You keep climbing, but it never feels like you're getting anywhere, like there's no end in sight. You keep achieving, but it doesn't feel like ease. You keep proving, but it never quite feels like you belong. Always the outsider. Because the nervous system that carried you here, well, she's still in survival mode. And that shows up in your leadership. Your tone sharpens just slightly when someone drops the ball. You reread emails before sending, making sure that tone is neutral, controlled. You praise your team, but you struggle to receive praise yourself. And your team, even if they can't name it, they feel it because they've got their own nervous system too. They feel that tension, that tightness, that 0.1% of you that's not fully home. It's not a character flaw. It's biology. It's a cortisol mismatch. Your body is still wired for stress long after the crisis has passed. Chronic cortisol elevation doesn't just keep you on edge. It rewires how you experience pleasure and presence. High cortisol levels downregulate dopamine, the neurotransmitter that's responsible for joy, motivation, and reward. And over time, this makes success feel muted. Maybe you feel numb. And even the things that you used to love, well, they lose their spark. It also overactivates your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center. You become more reactive, more vigilant, filtering every moment through the lens of what might go wrong. And it disrupts normal activity within your hippocampus as well, the part of your brain that helps you to process emotion and memory, which means it's harder to savor the wins. It's harder to feel the good. It's harder to recall facts and figures on a moment's notice. Meanwhile, your vagus nerve, the channel of your parasympathetic nervous system, well, it barely gets a chance to fire. The system that governs your rest, digestion, repair, and connection, it's left waiting at the door, trying to get a foot in. It's like your foot's always on the gas, but your brakes are worn down to nothing. Now, this is subconscious programming. It's identity wiring and it's biology, which is why mindset isn't enough, which is why rest feels like resistance, which is why nothing changes until you change how you see yourself. This is where neuro-identity coaching comes in. We don't just coach you to set better boundaries. We help you become the kind of woman whose nervous system knows she belongs, whose presence speaks louder than her productivity, whose leadership is felt even in stillness. Because that woman, she doesn't need to chase balance. She embodies it. My background blends strategy with science and deep nervous system work. I've led broken finance teams through complex rebuilds. I'm trained in clinical herbal medicine. And I work with subconscious identity patterns through neuro-identity evolution. It's a unique mix, but it means I see what a lot of coaches miss. So when you coach with me, you don't just learn how to relax. You remember how to trust yourself again. You stop proving. You start leading with grounded clarity, with emotional coherence, with a nervous system that knows you're safe. So if you're tired of chasing balance that never sticks, if your capability feels buried under exhaustion, but you still know it's there, if you're ready to lead from presence, not performance, join me for my free masterclass. When you feel better, you lead better. It's on the 21st of August at 10 a.m. New Zealand time. We're going to unpack the real link between nervous system health and leadership energy. And you'll walk away with practical tools to shift from just coping to leading with clarity. Save your seat now and reconnect with the leader you are. The link's in the notes. Because here's the thing. Rest isn't a reward. It's a requirement. And the leader you're becoming, she doesn't need to prove her value. She embodies it. I'm sending you lots of love. Bye for now.
Hey, thanks for listening to today's podcast. Can I ask you a favour? If our conversation spoke to you today, could you please take a moment to leave a 5-star review? Your review will help people discover this podcast, and together we can create a world where there's even more love and more laughter. And if you want to hear more from the Project Joyful podcast, just click the subscribe button. Bye for now.